So one of the other statistics you want to keep is your reimbursement statistics. And this is real important to see, obviously, who's paying and who's not paying and what they're paying. And the reason you want to is you can guide your practice. Well, there's several reasons, but one of the main reasons is you can guide your marketing into the categories that are paying. As an example, we did this with one client. We found out that one particular insurance paid pretty good. It was actually the teachers' union insurance. So we came up with marketing programs that was specifically targeted to the teachers. And his income is, and so the percentage of his new business became more and more teachers, and his income went up and up and up because of that. So you do want to pay attention to who's paying what. And I'll give you an opposite example. We looked at a stat one time, and we were with we signed on with an insurance company, and the paid benefits were terrible. And it turns out that we had to see, we had to see 4 patients from that insurance company versus one regular cash paying patient for it to equal 4. Well, we just terminated it. We got out of it. So this also helps you decide whether or not you want to stay in some of these plans. And in this particular case, I figured, well, it wasn't worth being in the plan, even though you'll get some phone calls, because I could have one other type of patient, a different insurance provider, and fill the void. One other insurance provider would pay for 4 of theirs. So I just, well, forget treating 4 of theirs. I'll just treat one regular or more than one regular, and I'll easily fill that void. So that's how you have to look at it. And that's how you kind of make your determination whether or not you want to stay in a particular plan. Is it worth being in the plan to get the phone calls versus what you reimbursed versus what the other plans are paying, and how easy it would be for you to replace it. So that's the considerations you want to make. So this is what it looks like. It says reimbursement statistics. At the top, all you would do is list your insurance companies, your reimbursement. This has Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, United, Cigna, Aetna, personal injury, cash, workers' compensation, so Medicare. So just put the insurance that applies to you. You'll find the insurances are regionally based. There'll be different insurance companies in the Northwest versus the Southeast, just a few. And usually there's only about 4, 5, or 6 major medical insurance companies. So, and you might want to just take and usually when you get the PI, usually there's about 15 or 20 insurance companies. So that's what it would look like at the top. You use a couple sheets if you have more insurance company than what's listed on here. And then you come down to the left-hand side, and you can see how it works. As it says, what you want to do in each box is you want to put what you charge, versus what is collected. And you especially want to know UCRs, because you always want to be billing a little bit over UCRs, usual and customary and reasonable. You always want to be billing a little bit over. You never want to be billing under UCRs. So you got the consultation, like here it says consultation code. And then the left-hand side, you put all your services. So here it says consultation code, examination code, examination. I listed 3 examination codes. There's about 5. Chiropractors typically only use 2. X-ray code. So it lists. So again, if you need more, then just add more lines. It's a table and it's a Word document. I'll send it out. But all you got to do is just add more rows or columns, or and then after all the X-rays reimbursed. X-rays are important too now. There's a lot of companies that don't pay for X-ray. It's not even worth having an X-ray machine with some of these major medical insurance companies. It's cash. And then you want to go, well, is it worth it or not? Well, then you find out if it's a profit center. So what you do is you take, what X-rays would you take? What would the cost that you would charge? What would be the fee that you would receive back? that gives you the money, the total money, monthly. Do that for a month, and then look at your cost. So what are your costs relative to your collections? And you may decide, you go, no, it's just not worth it. You might want to just get rid of your X-ray machine. And I always say, well, every time I help a doctor start a practice, I say, don't start it with an X-ray machine. You don't need to. In today's world, you don't need an X-ray machine at all. And I say, really, the only time you really are probably want to consider it is if you're really doing more personal injury, because you'll get paid 100%. That's when it probably comes more of a profit center and worth it. Otherwise, it might not even be worth it, especially the time it takes, depending on how busy you are, the time and effort it takes to do the X-rays and the quality. Of course, the quality of X-rays have dramatically changed, because now with the digital, even if you take a bad X-ray, you can modify it. You can increase or decrease the density, etc., to clean it up. But that's the consideration I would be taking is it a profit center or not? It's not a profit center. I wouldn't, there's no way I would have an X-ray machine. It's too easy to send them down to your local MRI center. And by the way, the X-rays now are just, the digital used to be really expensive. Now, you can buy digital X-ray machines for $10,000, $12,000 new. I was just at an exhibit, and they had a new digital X-ray machine for $12,000, and they have portable X-ray machines, portable, where you don't even need, it's a 100 kilovolt. And I was talking to the rep, and he goes, yeah, it'll get through lumbar. It'll definitely get through the cervical, thoracic. He goes, it'll get through lumbar if they're average weight. He goes, if they're 300 pounds, it won't. But then again, you already know if somebody's 300 pounds, your 300 kilovolt machine's not going to get through it, or it's going to look pretty bad anyway. But they got a little portable X-ray machine that plugs into 110 volt. I think it was $6,500, and you didn't need any lead, because how the X-rays dissipate quickly with distance. So it didn't have that much X-ray, didn't have that much punch to it. Portable X-ray, $6,500. Like, wow, digital. Like, no need for lead. Like, wow, not bad. Okay, so moving forward here, that's what you want to do with all your films. Check your AP, lateral, all your different films, what's getting paid, how much is it, and then put in what you charge versus what's getting paid, so you can evaluate, what you're doing. You might be doing some things that aren't even getting you paid, and you're not even aware of it. So same with the adjustment code. Put in your adjustment codes, and then your extremities. Your extremity, again, if you need more rows, you can just click on it, right click, and add rows. Extremity code. Okay. And then all your therapies, I just listed some of the therapies: hot packs, cold packs. Of course, you shouldn't even be doing those in your office. Muscle stim, ultrasound, I don't recommend that either. Traction, intersegmental traction. Matter of fact, I don't know if you know, there's some insurance companies that are not even paying intersegmental traction anymore. It's not even worth getting, it's not even worth having tables in your therapy bay. We set up new offices with no tables in the therapy bay, and we use chairs. Just, it saves a lot of space, a ton of space, and cost. Those therapy bays, if back in the day, you could do intersegmental traction and muscle stim at the same time. Well, that was worth it, even though the payment was lower. They were done, we did them simultaneously, so it was worth it. But I'm like, now the space isn't even used, especially if it's not even getting paid for intersegmental. It's not even worth having. Massage code, rehab, and then the active rehab codes. But you can see what we're getting at here. But you're getting a lot of information. Have your staff fill this out. What's being paid, what's not being paid, and then start focusing your attention a little more on what's being paid with your marketing, especially your, we say that all the time with therapies. What am I always going to pay attention to with the therapy, whether I do it or not? Well, number one, do I have the space? How much labor does it take? I don't want therapies that take labor. Staff to put them on and off and this and that, all the time it takes. The equipment, space, labor, equipment, you go, okay, what's the cost of the equipment? We never want to get involved with any monthly payments with anything. So you go space, labor, equipment. What's the reimbursement? How much are you going to get reimbursed for that? That's what we're going to pay attention to. And then with us, it's go, well, how does it fit into the science of the 3 phases of healing? How does it fit into the therapeutic protocol? See, that's what we're always paying attention to. So I want the least, that's why, we put up the least expensive therapies. That's why I say with us, it only takes us like less than $7,000 to totally equip a chiropractic office. Totally. And that's with new equipment, because we don't buy. I was at a recent convention. I'm like, oh my God, these machines, they're charging $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for these machines, and doctors actually think they need them. Like, you don't need that stuff at all. I'm going to give you an example of the therapies I had. We just had for 3 phases of healing, we just had, of course, the chiropractic adjustment, muscle stem, we had the roller table, and then we had ACT PNF, reciprocal inhibition, and TheraBands. That was it. All of those, and that's very expensive. TheraBand stations, $150 a station. The PNF was done by the assistant, and that was a modifier. And then the passive therapies, stem and roller, were done simultaneously. And they did the ice pack at home. We're not doing, you never do anything in your office you don't get paid for. Never. And that was it. That was way more than enough needed. So do fill this out, your reimbursement statistics. And it changes. I'd at least do it once a year, because the UCRs for the insurance companies change once a year with their contracts. So I'd do it once a year, see what's going on. And then based on what you're seeing, then I would kind of move your therapeutic protocol and your marketing accordingly to where you're getting reimbursed.